r/AskReddit. Serious, what was an uncanny, creepy or terrifying moment in your life that felt, or feels in retrospect, like a scene right out of a thriller or a horror movie? My wife and I had checked into a hotel room and had gone to bed. My wife is asleep, I'm just starting to drift off to sleep when I hear a soft voice in the dark room, just above a whisper say, "I think they're asleep now." Thinking I just heard the voice of someone hiding in our room, I jump out of bed in terror, turn on all the lights, search the bathroom, shower, under the bed, the closet, but there was nothing. My wife and I were the only two people in the room. Now some people might have believed the room was haunted, but what I experienced was a hypnagogic hallucination. But for a few minutes there I was quite terrified. I was falling asleep staring at the ceiling. We have a few night lights in the room so we don't die when we get up to pee during the night. The night light is casting a weird shadow on the ceiling that looked oddly like the profile of a face, and the more my brain and eyes focus in on it, the more detailed and menacing it began to look. I am completely fixated on this face, and then suddenly it turned to look at me. I screamed and thrashed around in my blankets, waking my highly irritated partner who was yelling, "What? What?" at this point. My brain then realized that the shadow was created by the blanket and my partner's foot, and when they moved their foot it made it appear as if the face had turned to look at me. I was so embarrassed that I told my partner I had a nightmare and turned over and went to sleep. Years ago I was living in my first solo apartment, no roommate, just me. I was excited for Christmas that year and decorated my apartment really cute. I had a nativity set that my mom had designed and made for me and I loved it. I set it up on the floor, in front of my tree. At the last minute, I was able to fly home for the holiday and spend it with my parents in a different state. A few days after I returned, I had a knock at my front door. I opened it to find a man and his wife, appeared to be in their mid-50s, and they seemed very surprised to see me. They asked if Larry was there. I told them I didn't know anyone named Larry. They insisted he was their son and he lived in this apartment. I assured them that this was my place and no one named Larry lived there. They said they had spent Christmas Day with Larry in this apartment, then pointed to where my tree had been and asked what I had done with the beautiful, custom-made nativity that had been there. They loved it and Larry had told his mother she could have it. I had several odd things happen in that apartment, but I was young and didn't have good sense, so I didn't move for 3 years. Compared to a lot of these, this will sound really tame. I was driving home very late at night down a narrow country lane. It was a typical UK winter night, so really dark, rainy and windy. On the lane was a small stone humpback bridge, the kind that is so steep you can't see over the other side. I slowed and began to cross the bridge, and in my headlights I saw hundreds of mice rushing across the road from right to left across the bridge. This was impossible as the bridge is raised over a stream, with solid stone walls on either side. I gasped and hit the brakes, coming to a stop on the middle of the bridge, and in the next sweep of the wipers I saw nothing. Just some leaves blowing in the wind. I know it sounds really mild, but I have remembered this vividly for over 10 years now, and I was so freaked out at the time.